Well, hello, listener. Thanks for joining us here on Soapbox Letters. It's episode 0 of our little podcast here. So Soapbox Letters. It's a little hobby podcast of mine. It's episode 0. I guess I should explain what this podcast is about. So this is a little hobby podcast that I started. I've never done a podcast before. So it's all a learning experience, recording and producing and all that stuff. It's just a little podcast that I do, from my children's toy room. I have two little girls, and I record this in their toy room when they're either asleep or, at school or whatever. And some might say that it's probably a bad idea to keep laptops and recording equipment in, and by recording equipment I mean just like a microphone. It might be a bad idea to keep those things in a children's toy room. And you know what, listener, you're right. It's a terrible idea. But I don't have anywhere else to put this stuff because I work from home. Working from home's okay, but I was told to get a hobby too because just a little something, take my mind off stuff. And I thought, well, I like podcasts and I like writing letters that don't go anywhere. Like, I don't mail them. They're not to specific people. And then I thought, well, why don't I do a podcast where I read said letters, like stand on a soapbox, as it were, and just read those letters out. They're letters of a absurd nature, I guess. I mean, it's not a new concept by any means, but it's fun. It's putting a little bit of positivity out into the world, and if we catch a few listeners and take their mind off their problems, or just give them a little something to listen to while they're doing stuff like making supper or commuting or drifting off to sleep, that's fantastic. That'll be something. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. Just have a little hobby and put a little positivity out into the world. So now, what are the letters about? Well, the letters will be different each week. We'll post a podcast once a week on Mondays, I think. Mondays is a good day, because it'll give us something to look forward to besides Mondays, because Mondays are generally terrible, right? At least my work week is Monday to Friday, so yeah, it's pretty terrible. So yeah, that's what it is. The letters. So the letters will be silly. They're silly. And sometimes they'll be maybe touching. I don't know. Depends on what we pull out of the soapbox, because that's where they sit. We'll put a letter out and give it a read and then move on. So yeah. So episode 0 is a wrap. Look at that. We're just gonna publish this thing. I suppose if you want to keep in touch, we have a bunch of ways to do that, I guess. Let's see here. We got our website, soapboxletters.ca. That's soapboxletters.ca. That'll take you to the podcast hub. You should probably find it on whatever app you're listening to, like Apple or Google or whatever. We are also on Twitter at soapboxletters. And you can email us too if you want to. That'd be nice. You can always email us at soapboxletterspodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, we got all the bases there. We don't have any of the fancy stuff like Instagram or anything, because why would I have Instagram? And I was told to do this on TikTok too, but I don't think anybody wants to see 1-minute videos of this. And it's, like I'm a dad of 2 little girls, and nobody needs to see that. I don't think. But anyway, I digress. So it's Soapbox Letters. We'll be publishing our first episode very soon. And if you come back, we'll talk to you then. See you soon.